going to start recording. I just wanted to welcome everybody to office hours today. What I want to do is have everybody, it looks like people are joining up. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to minimize that, and I'm going to open up my chat. So let's see, there's chat. Now I'll keep my chat on my screen as much as I can. I want to make sure to give full screen to the screen recording here, or to the presentation. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. If I could just get maybe just one person to shout out and say, "Yep, hear you," and that way I'll know. It's funny, I guess if nobody chats, then that means that nobody can hear me. Oh, good. Okay, good. Here we go. All right. Looks like got a couple more people joining. All right, so what I wanted to do was just kind of jump in and go through a quick demo of the EventStream and how I would set it up. And then I have just a bunch of stuff that I want to share and go through. But as you guys come up with questions, just go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can when it works into the presentation, and that way I can keep this moving and everybody can get a good recording of this afterwards with some good relevant material. But so getting started, I'm here in my admin. And I have some things that I really want to call out on my title screen here. Is I have a keyword. My keyword is MB Demo. This is the keyword you're going to use throughout your event. Everybody will have a different one. It's kind of your unique identifier. And this is what I call affectionately now is a virtual venue. This is what we use as the location where everybody's going to see the information about the event, register for the event, buy virtual tickets to the event so they can see the event stream or the video, bid on the live and silent and so on. This is what you're going to want to doctor up so that everybody can understand what you're doing, when you're doing it, and so on. And then one of the areas I would go to next is my landing page content under the software settings tab. And when I do this, I usually try to open up the the Event Central landing page. So I have two tabs open. I have my event landing page or my virtual venue loaded, and then I also have my landing page content admin open. So that way when I make changes here, I can refresh here and I can see what that looks like. Now I have an event set up called Ashley's Embrace Friendraiser Gala, and I have some elements here. I have my login, register, I have an embedded YouTube video, I have an Instagram feed, and my auction preview. And so I don't want to go too far into this because this is a little bit beyond the EventStream stuff, but what I have here is, under page settings, I want to make sure that people can see the auction preview, that people can register to bid, and that people can log in to bid. So that's probably the most important thing. So you have page settings. These are all organized by tabs here. Page settings allows me to change kind of the way the landing page is built and laid out. Some options here that you can, drag and drop onto your landing page. You can see I have my full screen graphic. I have a title for the event. I am allowing social sharing and so on. And then under the login register area, I am allowing the auction to open early, and I am allowing people to register to bid. So in my example, I'm not requiring credit cards or an address, but in your actual account, it's probably a good idea to require at least the credit card. So that way when people register, you're qualifying folks to participate in the event. One of the things that I also, recommend is that, you can also sell tickets to the event and a virtual venue. I've gone into this before, but in the virtual venue world, people will still pay to participate, and it's really giving them the ability to be a part of the live stream, because the live stream is only available to people who are logged in, and you could require people to buy a ticket in order to get a bidder number. If that's the case, then you would turn off the register now button. On my bidding site here, you can see the register now. There's no dollar amount associated with that. Instead, what I would do is turn that off and refresh my landing page. You can see it's gone now. But then if I wanted to do I have tickets enabled? Yeah. So if I wanted to allow on my ticket page, I could, let people buy $115, or, virtual tickets can be all different prices based on what, you're offering and so on, if there's a giveaway or something. But when I buy this ticket, I can create a bidder number on that. So that's how I get my bidder number, is by buying an actual ticket. Of course, we see these all the time with physical galas, but I think now you can still sell tickets to your event, your virtual event. One thing I will say is it's easy for me to get, off on a tangent, so I'm trying hard not to here. I do that from time to time. If anybody's listening to me here in the office, they're probably laughing and shaking their head, oh yeah. So anyway, let me jump back here, close down the landing page and the ticket page. The reason I came here first is because, being the virtual venue, you want to make sure it's set up properly. You want to go to that virtual venue, again, under Event Central landing page, and just take a look at it, make sure it's good. Now I want to, in this office hours, I want to kind of qualify some timing. So let's say, so it's Tuesday, let's say that the event is Saturday night, 7:30 to 8:30. I'm going to do a 1 hour live streaming event. People will log in to bid, they'll be able to watch the video feed. It's on Saturday, but today being Tuesday, I'm ready to roll this thing out, and I want people to bid early. I want people to get into the account and so on. So what I would do is I would go to my items, make sure that's all set up right. In my account, I have 8 auction items, and of different types. I have a silent auction. Let me move the Zoom chat over here. I have a silent auction item. You can see here by type, if I filter or sort them. I have a donation item. I have a bunch of live items, since we're dealing with the live. Just answering a chat. And then I have 1 silent auction item. Now, of course, you'll have a much different combination, but they're all different times. So, 12/20, 2000, 1/29, 2020, 12/29, 2020. So I want them all on the same page, and I want them all active, because some are active and some are closed. What I would do is I would go to show 10 entries. I want to show all entries, and then I'm going to check this box. It's going to select all my items. In this case, only 8. And then I'm going to come down to the batch area, and I have a bunch of batch options here. I'm going to check the status one, because I want to change that to make sure it's active. Then I want to check the closing time box, and I want to choose this Saturday, the 5th. And I said, I think it was 7:30. So I'm going to do 7:30. Done. So now I'm changing the status, I'm changing the closing time, and I'm going to do them all to close at the same time at the end of my event stream. And okay. So now, if I refresh or I come back up here, they're all set to close 7:30 on the 5th. How do I know that? One of the things I do when I'm going through accounts to make sure that everybody has their account set up is I, again, go to show all items, and then I do closing time, and I just top filter it up and down. And what it'll do is it'll show me any stragglers. Maybe somebody added an item and they forgot to change the closing time. So I can see if there's anything different. And when I look here, they're all 7:30 on the 5th. So that's good. So everything's right. I can do that with status. I can do that with any of these, and it'll show me what, if there's any stragglers out there, a closed status that's just kind of lingering. This is really important when you have, 200, 300 auction items, and you don't want to have to scan through all of them. You can kind of filter them quick. Now, let's talk specifically about the EventStream items. For as long as, we've had ClickBid, we've had the ability to set up a live auction item. And I'm going to go to add item, and I'm going to call this live event stream item. And so I'm going to choose a category. I'll call it experience, invisible. I'm going to make it active. Closing time again on the 5th at 7:30. Very standard kind of stuff you would do when you're setting up your item. And then you come down here to silent or item type, change that to live, and market value. Let's say this item is worth, you know, $8,000. It's a trip. And I have here, this is a standard live auction item. So basically what this means is that when somebody bids on this at an in-person event, they have to raise their paddle, the auctioneer calls the number, we write the number down with a spot, somebody's a spotter, and they spot all the paddles going up and they write it down, and then they get the winning bid, and they add that winning bid using our Event Central butler. So they would add a bid, type in the bidder's name or number, type in the item, live item name or number, and then they would add that live auction bid. Then they would pay for it, and so on and so forth. However, because we've kind of in this place where we're not doing in-person events, or you know, when we get to hybrid events, we need to be able to let people bid from home. So we gave you the option now to allow live bids. So all I have to do is switch that to yes, and then I want to make sure I put a starting bid. Two pieces of information that I need to now concern myself with is the starting and the bidding increment, because when somebody's from home at home and the auctioneer starts the bidding at $4,000 or $4,500, they need to know that as well, and they need to have the ability to bid that, which we'll see in a second. So I'm going to put $4,500, and I'm going to do increments of $1,000. Sometimes the question comes up, this is a little bit aside, where do I set my starting bids and what do I set my increments? Through the years, we've heard people say that, you know, usually maybe 12 to 15 bids is typical of what you want to get to when you sell the item. So, and then I usually I recommend that you set your starting bids at anywhere between 35 and 45% of the market value. So if you say, you know, in this case, let's just say, you know, 50%, well, let's start it at 3,000. Now, if I want, you know, 10 bids on this, I might set the increment to $500, and then, you know, that would be $5,000, and I would get to 8,000. But it's a live item, so I want this to move a little quicker, so I'll do $1,000, and then if I had 10 bids, then that would be $13,000. So that would be great. I'd love to see 13,000 come in for this item, but giving people the chance to go up by $1,000 is good. And we can adjust that. I'll show you how to change that as we get into it. But let's say we'll start the bidding at 3,000, market value is 8,000, and the bidding increment is 1,000. That's all I had to do. In the description, I can type, you know, this is my description. Lots of information here. And I can upload some images down here at the bottom. Image details, I can add a donor and so on. I'm going to skip a lot of that just so that we can keep moving. And then when I click the complete and go back, you can see here now that I have somewhere in here is the live EventStream item. Now the question is, well, man, if I have I have regular live items that we're going to do only for people in attendance, you know, this would be for the spring when we get back to, you know, hybrid events, or we get back to doing these. So how do I know the difference on my items of an item that can be bid on from home and an item that's only for people at the event in attendance? So that's pretty easy. You just go to your tags column, and then you type in EventStream. So this EventStream tag that I have here, I'll highlight it. That is for items that are available to be bid on from home. They're also live, so you know, only one winner will be assigned to this, but people can bid on this from home. If the EventStream tag was missing, then it would be only biddable from Butler, meaning you would have the paddles raised in the air, the auctioneer would call them, and then you would enter the winning bid at the end using the Butler tool. But now that these are EventStream, anybody can bid on these who's logged in once the auctioneer gives the go-ahead. So I'll show that really quick as well. So let's say, you know, we fast forward all the way to Saturday and we're doing our live auction, and the auctioneer wants to get that going. Okay, folks, we're going to do the live auction. Let's get that queued up. And I'm going to open up another tab so that I can show you what it looks like from a bidder's site from their phone. I'm going to inspect here, turn on my mobile device looking version, and I'm going to log in as bidder 100. And now I have my bidding site. So I'm home on my couch, bidding on silent auction items. Let's see. The giveaway gift basket, I'm bidding on a silent item. Let me bid $200. All right, cool. Now I'm winning that. And oh, I'm winning. And so now the auctioneer says, okay, folks, we're going to do the live auction. Now, I haven't touched yet on the live video. We're going to get to that. And you know, all of this is happening at the same time. I'm just trying to, I want to clarify each piece individually. But while the video is going and the auctioneer's calling or getting ready to throw the auction and you know, throw out that live auction, I'm bidding at home, and eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to see a bid live button pop up here. So if I'm the auctioneer, I would have a spotter with me. Now, when you've hired auctioneers in the past, usually you get, you know, 1 or 2 spotters that are available to look at the crowd and see who's bidding. Puts a paddle out, the spotter will call out that person. So the auctioneer has an assistant to help them. What we recommend is that you have one person be that virtual spotter who's going to run the event stream. Now what I'm in here in the Butler. I'll close this and show you how I got there just to keep things consistent. I was under Event Central and then I clicked on Butler. And then now we're ready to do the live auction, and the spotter that we've got designated for the auctioneer clicks on Launch Event Stream. And now you can see here that I have a page that right at the offset is just kind of blank, not a whole lot going on. But over here on the left, I can see unsold items, sold items, and donation items. Obviously, all of my items are unsold at the beginning, so I can see all of my live auction items that are available for people to bid on from home. They're all listed here, including the one that we just created. So let's say I'm the spotter. The auctioneer's on camera and he's talking or she's talking, and you can see them in the copy of our, or the kind of the screen here. And they say, okay, folks, the auction item up for bid that we're going to do now is the live event stream item. So as the spotter, I go ahead and click on that, and it loads it up. And I can see here bidding details. The next bid is $3,000. If I needed to click on this, I could get the details. And I have a starting bid at $3,000, minimum bid at $1,000, and there's no bidding history yet, which makes sense. Nobody's bid on anything. But the auctioneer's talking it up. They don't want people to start bidding yet. They just want to talk the item up. Folks, this is a great live event stream item. It's coming with, it comes with airfare for 2 nights in downtown, Manhattan at, the Ritz-Carlton, 2 tickets to, Hamilton, and so on. And they're really talking it up. But again, in a live event, we didn't want people to bid yet. The auctioneer hasn't said, okay, we're going to start the bidding. They're just talking it up. So again, at home, I'm going to be watching this and I'll show you what that looks like. But I see this bid live button all of a sudden showed up on my screen. So I click on that and it says live stream item. This is what we're auctioning off. So now I'm participating as a bidder from home. Again, you can see that description I wrote down there, but it says here in gray text. Try to zoom this in a little bit. See if I can do that here. Yeah, it's not going to let me do it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I can. This way. I want to, there. That's hopefully a little bit better. You can see here it says this item is not currently accepting bids. Well, that's because the auctioneer is talking it up and getting everybody, amped for it. And then the auctioneer says, all right, folks, we're going to start the bidding at $3,000. That's the cue for the spotter to press start. So now it says your item is now available for bids. As a bidder from home, all of a sudden, wow, there I am. Okay, cool, bid $3,000, and it's kind of calling me out here. So I say yes, and now I just bid $3,000, and I am winning this item. To the auctioneer and the spotter back home, they see this bid come in, $3,000 for Harry, and oh, thanks, folks, we have $3,000. We got the bidding started to 3,000, next bid 4,000. Do I see 4,000? 4,000. Do I see 4,000? And that's about as much live auctioneer demo as I'm going to do, thankfully. And so we're waiting for that $4,000 bid. And 2 quick questions that have come in. Do you have to click the bid live to be able to bid live? Yes, we want people to opt into it. So you'll notice that I saw this bid live. when you're running the video could tell people, okay, folks, we're going to go bid. We're going to start bidding in the live. You'll see a bid live button. Go ahead and press that button, and then it'll show up so that they can see it. And then would the bidding history show all entries, or is it or up to a specific number? So I think that question is this bid history here. This is going to show everything. If there are 30 bids, you're going to be able to scroll down and see all 30 of them. But the top one is always the winning one. So now I'm calling out, waiting for $4,000 to come in. And we have this little tool here called the floor bid. And this has really been helpful for me during my webinars, is that I can simulate somebody raising their paddle on the floor. So again, at a physical event, if I want to blend the two, somebody, bidder 102, just put their paddle in the air, and the auctioneer says, thank you, bidder 102 for 4,000. And then now Matthew Merkins just gave $4,000, and the next bid is 5. Okay, folks, 4,000, do I see 5? 5,000, 5,000. And then at home, I saw, oh, I just got outbid. Okay, well, now I need to get back into this thing. But 4,000, or 5 grand, I can't do 5 grand. I really only budgeted. I wish he would do 4,500. So the auctioneer sees that nobody's really bidding. He's only got 2 bids, and he's like, you know what, folks, can I get 4,500 for this item? And the spotter says, oh, well, in that case, what I need to do is knock off a $500 bill off of this minimum. So I'm going to press minus 500, and it automatically lowers the next bid to 4,500. So that everybody from home, again, now in a physical event or in person, that was the auctioneer just saying, you know what, I'm reading the room, and I say, oh, 4,500. I'll just do 4,500. But we need to give the bidders from home the ability to bid on that. So we just dropped 500 off the next bid. And now at home, oh, perfect. 4,500. Yeah, I'm going to do that. 4,500. Yes, I'm going to bid it. Now I'm winning. And the next bid is 5,000. So the auctioneer says, awesome, $500. So next bid, $5,000. 5,000. Do I see a 5,000 bid? And again, I'm terrible at that. And so no, and there's no more bids coming in. The auctioneer's okay. 5,000 going once, 5,000 going twice, 5,000 sold to Harry Bosch for $4,500. So then the spotter says, oh, he said sold. I'm going to hit sell. Your item has sold. Boom. So we sold it for $4,500 to Harry Bosch, and Harry Bosch sees, boom, you won this item. So now I've just won. And like any live auction, we move on to the next item, and the auctioneer says, okay, folks, next up for auction is the Paris Getaway for 2. The Paris Getaway for 2, and that's the spotter's cue to click on Paris Getaway for 2. And then that brings up the starting bid of 7,000. Folks, the Paris Getaway for 2 includes 2 round-trip tickets, a week stay at wherever and such. And then now at home, I have now automatically, without clicking anything, I've switched. My phone has updated as if I were sitting in the room, and now all the auctioneer has to do is say start, and I now see that I can bid on this item. And I didn't have to, because we don't want people to have to click and have to do all these different interactions to follow along. We want them to just, for the entire live auction, all I have to do is press bid to bid on a live auction item. And so I'm going to come back to this because we have a couple of questions that came in, and I want to clarify, and answer those really quick. So for a person to see the live video, does he or she need to be registered for the auction? Yes. Yes and no. Yes, I would say yes, because we want people to be incentivized to register to bid. However, whenever you use the EventStream, you get what's called a public viewing address. And so that address can be emailed to anybody. It can be put on your publicly facing landing page. It can be, you can send it as a text message and so on, and then people can watch it without being logged in to bid. Again, the reason I wouldn't do that is because I want to incentivize people to become registered. Not only, they don't have to bid, but what's nice is I now get their contact information. And from a donor management standpoint, that's really helpful to me, because now I can start to cultivate a donor relationship. And I use the video as a way to kind of bring people in to be part of that auction so I can capture that data. But so I would say technically, no, you can make it available to anybody you want, but I wouldn't do that. I would make it only available to people, you know, who show up at the event. And then, can users not see the live video while live bidding? You can see the live video while live bidding. I just don't have it turned on yet, and I'll show you what that looks like when I get to that point, because I want to do them in stages so that I don't overwhelm you with a bunch of clicking. I feel like I'm already doing a bunch of clicking, but I'll show you how the live video fits. Really what happens is this screen here pushes down to make space for the video, and then you have a fully interactive experience. And then, can you have two items open at the same time? In the live, no, you can't. You're really working through them one at a time, just like you would at an in-person event. The auctioneer would be auctioning off one at a time, keeping everybody focused. And so that, you know, one at a time kind of deal. Now, with the appeal item, I did get a question here about, you know, display the fund and need appeal live streaming sequence. And once we're done with the live auction, what I would tell people on the live stream, if I'm the auctioneer, I say, okay, folks, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to open up the appeal, and maybe we'll play a video, give people something to, you know, kind of get them to understand emotionally what this appeal is for. But as the spotter, I would click on donation items, and then I would click on cash donation. And what that does is it brings up the appeal item. And right now there's no history because nobody's given, but then I would tell people, you know, close this window and press the donate button. So I'm going to close this window, press donate, and now I'm going to give $500. In my example, I don't have any buttons here, but you can set up increments, and that's typically what we see. You know, $5,000 increment, $2,500, $1,000, $1,500, and so on down to $500, and then an other. So that way people can give in a certain increment, and the auctioneer kind of walks them through that. But in this case, I'm going to give $500. And now, again, the auctioneer wants to be able to see that so they can call it out. So the auctioneer can see 500, Harry Bosch. Thank you, Harry. We see your $500 donation. And then as more and more donations come in, they're going to start listing here. You'll see every single one of them listed as they come in. Now, one thing you can do is you can, and I'll show you how to do this as much as we have time for it, but you can set up an appeal display so that people can see that appeal coming in. And there's a thermometer, you can put names on it, and so on. So what I want to do is, let me just check, because I think the one question is asking about Zoom, and I want to jump into that right now, because one of the things that I've found is that Zoom works really well with ClickBid. And so the way that works is, I'm going to keep this open. Let me see here. I'm going to keep that open. I'm going to close I'll keep the EventStream open and my admin open. What I want to do is go to Event Central and Live Broadcast. And now it's going to tell me that I can't run my camera because I'm already running my camera in Zoom, which is what we're all talking on right now. So I can't do two things at the same time. But this will actually work out well for us. At the bottom of the live broadcast page is technical details. So if you have an AV person or somebody that uses open broadcasting software, OBS, or somebody that wants to use Zoom, then this is where they're going to want to come to, is the technical details. Because in Zoom, what you can do is you can send live video, your Zoom conference call, you can send that to people who are bidding in your auction. And that can be your mechanism by which you show your live event. And then you can say, well, you know, but Matt, I want a pre-recorded video. Or I want to do a VIP party, you know, half an hour before the event, and then I want to switch to a pre-recorded video because we don't want somebody to gaffe or anything like that. Then, you know, we don't have something that's going to be live, or maybe the only live portion is the live auctioneer. So what you can do is inside of your Zoom account, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my meeting controls. I'm going to stop sharing. And what that did is it kind of brought up my Zoom screen, and I can see everybody's camera is on. I can see it in kind of a nice grid view. Let's see if I can take a screenshot here. It's funny when I'm doing a Zoom, it's like I'm doing a Zoom inside of a Zoom. And so I'm going to take a screenshot of that, and then I'm going to share my screen again. And so show you guys what I'm looking at. So what I'm looking at is this, and I saw everybody here listed, some people with their cameras off and so on. But what this is now, this is what my Zoom looks like. So I'm going to stop that again. And then in the bottom, there's a menu bar. If you've all used Zoom, you can turn your microphone on and off. You can turn your camera on and off. You can share your screen, record. And then there's a more button, and it's called Live on Custom Live Streaming Service. I'm going to press that, and then it's going to take me to a new page, which I will now share again, so that way you guys can see it. So we should be back to screen sharing. It asked me, it says, you know, live stream the Zoom meeting to a custom service. Everything that happens in our Zoom meeting, I can send to ClickBid's EventStream, and it'll start broadcasting it. But what I need is a streaming URL, a streaming key, and a live streaming page URL. Well, the good news is that's all available inside of your admin, or I can get to it. It says technical details. So this is what I want. I want my publish path. I'm going to copy that. It's going to tell me that it's copied, and then I'm going to go back to that page, and I'm going to paste it right in there. Then it wants my streaming key, which I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to click on stream key, copy. It's going to copy all this random numbers and things. I'm going to hit OK. We provide all of this to you. You don't have to come up with it. And then you paste it right into this field. And then it wants the live streaming page URL. Remember how I said you can send out a link to everybody that they can watch it without logging in? That's what this viewer link is. And I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste it in here. So now Zoom has all the information they want, and then I'm going to press go live. It's going to think about it, try to connect to the stream, and then when it's done, takes just a second here, it's going to now be sending that video to my EventStream. Let's close that. And so I want to close this window because it creates an infinite loop there. And so now let's take a second and step back out. I've gone ahead and set that up as the Zoom manager. And now everybody at home who's bidding sees this live button showing up. So I press on live, hit play. I'm going to mute because I don't want a feedback. But now I'm showing my Zoom meeting. See how I'm moving my cursor and it's moving there? It's basically an infinite loop in there. I'm sharing my screen right now in my Zoom meeting, but if I turn off my screen share, whoops, let me turn off my screen share. And let me just show speaker view. Let me pin myself here, pin. So now I'm showing on here, I'm showing you my video. And this is my Zoom meeting being broadcast to EventStream. This is kind of trippy because it's like a video inside of a video. So sometimes it takes just a little bit to get your head around it. But basically what you're doing is you set up a Zoom and you invite up to 100 people to it. Typically, you know, somebody that you want to bring into the meeting. And then what I can do is I can admit people into the meeting because I have a waiting room. You know, remember when you guys signed on to this meeting, you came into a waiting room and then I admitted you all. Well, if I admitted one of you, then we would be side by side and we'd be talking to each other and everybody could watch that. And you could do that for your VIP. Hey folks, I'm glad you could join the VIP party. I've got, you know, Sally here on the line. Let's have her talk. Hey Sally, how's it going? And then she talks and I talk. And then I say, okay, now I want to bring in, you know, Carter. And so I admit Carter. Now there's 3 of us on here. And by the time we're done with the Zoom meeting, we have like 10 people. We're all talking and sharing and so on. And it's in the Zoom meeting. Well, then, you know, we get to the live event. So that was the first half hour. And again, remember I said my event was from, was it 6:30 to 7:30. So from 6 to 6:30, I'm doing this kind of you know, this Zoom meeting for people to join in, and VIPs who can be part of the Zoom happy hour, cocktail hour. And then I go ahead and get ready for my event. But at 6:30, I just want to show a video. I don't have anything else to show. I've pre-recorded it. I paid a production company, or I did something myself, and I just want to show a video for an hour, and then maybe come back to Zoom and bring myself back on, and I can, you know, do that. So then what do I do? Well, one of the easiest ways to do this is to then go to, again, I'm back in Zoom, and I'm going to press share my screen. And I'm going to share my entire screen. And you can see here it's sharing it. But let's go to my desktop, and I'm going to load up a pre-recorded video. And you can see here that we will begin in just a moment. So now if I go to my, so it's going to be difficult to do both at the same time because I'm using my screen. So you can see here I'm playing my video as long as I get my screen out of the way, my Zoom meeting out of the way. I'm going to go right to my, oh good, now it's split. So on my left-hand side, I'm showing you what I call an in real life video. And on the right-hand side, I'm showing you what the bidder sees at home. Now, because I'm splitting my screens, the bidder will in this case see the fact that I'm splitting my screens, but as a, you know, as the presenter, I would just make this full screen here, and then you would just be able to watch that video. Now, I just recorded this morning. It took me about 5 minutes, or not 5 minutes. Well, it took me about 5 minutes to do this part, and then I went in and I kept going, and eventually I did an interview. So this is me being interviewed, to quote unquote, and I did all of this with my cell phone. I have a Samsung phone, and the quality is incredible. The sound quality is incredible. You can put together a really nice edited video. You can ask people to edit your video online, just like YouTube streamers do, and so on. You know, I'm happy to provide some resources that, you know, you can use to do this, but it's very easy to build these videos. Now, let me close this. Again, I don't want us to get too far down a rabbit hole. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a moment. And the way I recorded that video, I used this guy right here. Now we're back to real time. I bought one of these guys. It's the Shure brand. It's a high quality microphone, and I got it online on Amazon for $200. This is my personal cell phone, and this comes with this kind of cool tripod that you can either set down or you can, you know, hold out in front of you and record an in real life video. And again, the quality is amazing. I mean, this is, you know, people have shot entire cinematic movies on these things. And so I really like it. And, you know, you could send that out to, let's say you wanted to send that out to people around the country. So I could mail it to a donor or a donor sponsor in California, have them record a little bit, and then they can send it back to me. I can send it to somebody in New York City, record a little bit, send it back to me. Or they can even, my phone synchronizes to Google Cloud, so my video is available within minutes that I could start editing it while the phone is, you know, in New York. Or I just send them this without my phone, and they just put their phone in there and they record it and send it to me. So there's some really cool, inexpensive options for doing these videos. And the thing I would say here, just as a plug, is that the quality isn't as important as, you know, what's in it, and, you know, the in real life feel, you know, somebody being honest. People spend, you know, hours each day watching YouTube streamers talk about their experiences at Disney World or, you know, different theme parks and things like that, and the quality isn't, you know, blowing anybody out of the water. It's not you know, it's not Avatar, but people love the content. And so that's really what's important right now, is that people know that the organization is doing well, that, you know, these are your plans, these are our goals, and so on. So I'm going to close. I'm going to minimize. Okay. So I guess I can't. Zoom's going to bark at me about that. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, because I want to show you then I'm going to stop and go through some questions, because I haven't done that in a little bit. Again, I'm sharing my screen again. And what I want to do is I want to, as the auctioneer, that I'm going to say, okay, folks, next up for auction is the signed Gibson Les Paul guitar. And that's the cue for the spotter to click on signed Gibson Les Paul guitar. So they bring that item up, and it's now up for auction, $3,000. And as the bidder, I'm going to see the bid live button, and I'm watching my video. I press bid live, and now like I said, right underneath the video stream is the live auction. So remember, I can either bid in my silent auction, I can come here to my menu, I can go to all items, I can browse all items, or I can bid live. Either way, I'm still watching the presentation. And so now if I want to let people bid in the live auction, I can press start. Let's start the bidding at $3,000, folks. And then now the bid button is there. And you can see here that I'm also streaming. Now, again, this is me using Zoom to show my screen. So this normally would be a full screen video that's playing, or I would come back to stop sharing my screen and I would let the auctioneer have the full screen so they could auction off the items. The beauty of doing it through Zoom is that I could have my auctioneer in, Cincinnati, and I'm in Michigan. I just tell my auctioneer, hey, call in at 7 o'clock. We're going to get you in. You're going to do the auction, and they can run the auction from where they are with their spotter, and I could have a great, amazing auctioneer without having to fly them to me. And so that's, again, as we start to use this technology more and more, what seems like, oh my gosh, my head is going to explode. I can't get my head around what Matt's talking about, and this is so, there's so many different pieces. This becomes very commonplace, as we move into 2021. We finish out 2020. But if all we're trying to do is just show a video, what I can do is I can set up my computer to play a video in full screen, and it's just going to play it. And then when I'm done, I stop sharing my screen, and then I show myself talking, or I have an external camera set up on a couch where I have a couple of volunteers or a couple of donors or organization members talking to the camera and doing a little debrief on how the year's gone. And then we bring in another person into Zoom as the auctioneer, and they're auctioning off those auction items, and then we can go back to another full video. Now, what I haven't talked about is OBS, and let me jump to the questions because I have a lot of questions coming in. And let's see, where'd they go? I'm going to stop my screen share. Here they are. Okay, and close that, and let's see now. So if your Zoom account allows for up to 500, will that work with EventStream? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, really, when it comes to, your screen's going to be really small. Remember how I showed you, I had a screenshot somewhere. Ugh, did I get rid of it? I did. Okay, so it had the grid view. We've probably seen them on news sites where they have a bunch of people, all in a grid. If you had 500, that would be those would be really small pictures of people. But yes, what happens is that Zoom is handling all of the connection of all those people onto one screen, and you're just sending that from that screen to ClickBid as one full screen. So it doesn't matter if there's one person in Zoom or 500 people in Zoom. What I recommend is, I think of Zoom as more of a VIP tool. So you've got, maybe 10 to 20 people that you're really given access to. So you're like, what, at 6 o'clock, we're going to do a pre-party, and we're going to allow people to, join the event feed and watch the broadcast. But to the 20 people that can join the Zoom meeting, they get to be part of the broadcast. They get to be able to speak, talk to everybody, share an example of the organization at work. They can do an appeal. That's kind of for like the VIP. So you could sell those at a different price, or you could make those available to your key donors. And then at 6:30, when the program starts, you switch to sharing your screen and you play a full screen video. And that's what everybody watches from there. And then at the end of it, if you wanted to come back to, you could stop sharing your screen, and you could come back to, see, my screen being shared right now. So this is that video that I pre-recorded. I have it sitting on my desktop, and it's me. And then at the end of that, I can stop sharing my screen by pressing stop share. And now I'm back to streaming live. Hey folks, I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. It looks like it's 7:30, the auction's closed. For those of you who won, you're gonna see a red pay button on your screen, on your mobile device. Go ahead and press that and pay. We're gonna set up some arrangements for you to pick up those items. And we're excited to get those to you. And thank you so much for being a part of the night tonight. You know, have a great night, and then you basically sign out of your meeting, and that ends the event stream. So I wouldn't necessarily look at Zoom as being the way that all of your bidders participate. It's more of kind of a key group of people maybe. So can you explain the difference between using the admin access versus the butler access on the day of the event, and who needs to have each? That's a great question. So I'm gonna share my screen again. I'm surprised I haven't forgotten to do that more often. So let's come over here to the admin. So this is your admin, this is your main ClickBid admin. And then during the event, when you want volunteers to check people in, check people out. Now this is going back to when we had physical events, which seems like eons ago. But we wanted to give people the Fisher Price version of the admin so that they couldn't, you know, look at all the items, run reports and all that. We just want them to check people in, check people out, add bids, remove bids, and do the appeal, and that was it. So we created what's called the butler, and the butler is this right here. Again, looking up a bidder. If I wanted to look for one of my bidders, I would press look up, and it would give me their name. I could look at their information, check them in, and so on. This is back when we did physical events, and when we get back to it, we'll do this again. I can add a bid in the system. If somebody wanted to bid on a silent auction at the event and they didn't have a phone, I could place a bid for them. But here we have the event stream. We wanted to put that in the butler because, again, this is more of a volunteer or a event-based function. I recommend that you have a laptop because this gets pretty big. But then, you know, it gets, oh, yeah, okay, so it gets pretty big. So I want to make sure that I have enough screen to show this. But again, you know, this happens inside of the butler tool because it's more of a event-based function, and you don't need the full admin to make that happen. So when you're running the live auction and the appeal, you can run that right from here. So let's go back to chat here. Oh. For some reason, when I'm sharing my screen, it doesn't want me to see the chat. So how do we mix pre-recorded video with a live auction and cash call? Is there a way to view that on TV in addition to Zoom? Another great question, and really what I was describing is right now we have our Zoom meeting. All 16 of us are on Zoom, and I'm broadcasting this. If you go to MB Demo, I'm going to type it up here. So https mbdemo.cbo.io. So in my chat, I sent you guys the link. If you click on that and log in as bidder 100, you're going to see a live button pop up within about 5 seconds. If you press that live button, you're going to see me, you know, talking on the screen. And so what I'm doing is I'm basically broadcasting our office hours in Zoom, and this is live. There's going to be a little bit of a delay because the time it takes to go from Zoom to ClickBid is, you know, a little bit of a delay, but I'm sending that to you guys. Now, if I wanted to, I don't know how many people are watching it. I guess I could find out. Oh, not very many yet, but so if I were, let me go back to Zoom. If people were watching it and I wanted to show them all, I could unpin using the tools. I can show everybody who's on, and now everybody sees the 16 people that are in our meeting. Actually, it shows, oh, it's only going to show the people that actually have web cameras. So sorry to put you guys on the spot like that. And then I'm going to do speaker view again and pin myself. And so now I'm back to showing myself. But then I say, hey, okay, folks, I'm going to show a video, and we're going to run a video for our program. So this is pre-recorded. I'm going to get that video queued up. And I'm going to hit, let me get that out of the way here. And then I'm going to share my screen. Folks, we want to show you a video, and share. And now what you see is the, we will begin in just a moment. If you follow that link I put in chat, you're going to see the full screen video, and now you're probably even going to hear me talking on that video. So I'm not going to keep this going for too long, but this is pre-recorded. And so let me close that, stop sharing my screen. And now the event was over, so the video ran out, and now I'm back to me. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. This is really exciting. This is me live. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna cut to my auctioneer who's live from Seattle, and he is going to do the auction. And then what I do is I right click on his picture in, and I don't wanna put any one of you guys on the spot, so let's see if I can do, yeah, I can't. It won't let me do it because I don't want to put anybody's live video on the spot. So anyway, then I can put them and pin them, and then they can watch. So that's basically how I would use Zoom to do that. Now, what I can do is I can also send you last week's, because we're closing in on the end of the program, and yeah, okay. So we're closing in on the end of the program, and I want to, answer a few more questions, and say, so I read a question, I completely zoned out for a second there. Sorry about that. I have a meeting an office hours that I did last Thursday, and I really went into extensive detail on OBS. And so what I can do is I'll send you guys a link to that. It's on YouTube. Just fast forward in the video and you can see how I set up OBS, because in OBS you can do a lot of these things. It's just that what I found with Zoom is that if you want to blend live video, pre-recorded video, it's actually pretty easy, and I've been really pleasantly surprised with how easy it is. And keep in mind, I'm using Wi-Fi at my office. We have really good internet, but if you have good consumer internet that you would use at home, if you're used to streaming YouTube at home, it's going to be good enough and strong enough to do it. So yeah, so I did have a question here. It says, would you recommend, let's see, we're using OBS because we have some videos we want to show. We'll have a couple people who are hosting the live event talking about auction items and sponsors. How do I get the live people on the video? Do I need to run a camera on them that feeds into OBS, or do they join via ClickBid live event? So if you're going to use OBS, yes, you need a camera that you can use as what's called a source in OBS. One of your sources is your pre-recorded video. Another source is your video camera. And then somebody using the computer, that same spotter person, could then switch between live and pre-recorded video, live and pre-recorded video. So it's very much, the nice thing about OBS is they've been doing this for a very long time. They're incredibly good. That software is incredibly good. It's free, and it's, people use it for massive production, and it's going to have better transitions, like nice crossfades and things like that. Whereas using Zoom, if you're switching from a live broadcast with 10 people to a video, you need to share your screen, and it'll take just a second to hit play. There's a little bit of a delay there. But with OBS, yes, you can include a live camera. It's not as easy, however, to include somebody from outside of where you're doing the broadcast. So if the auctioneer is available in person, they can do the live auction from where you're doing the broadcast. But if they're out of state, it's going to be difficult to pipe them in to that feed, because OBS up to this point hasn't been great at bringing in outside feeds. Now there are plugins, I don't want to get into all that, but if you've got somebody who's a guru at OBS, they may have a solution for that. Would you recommend enabling the live chat? I've learned that it allows attendees to chat together. Yes, I would. Yeah, you can turn on live chat. It's great. People chat. What that does is it allows me in my bidding site, I'm going to close this, to open chat, and I can create a username. And let me just join room, and then I can chat. Now my screen's zoomed out. I need to, here we go. And I just type, you know, hi. It's not going to let me because my Zoom isn't right. But anyway, I can type in messages. I can close the chat. I can bid live, and so on. I can show the video, and I'm actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, I'm not sharing my screen. So it did finally get me. So let me go back to that. I open my chat. I can type a chat, and it'll go in here. I can close the chat. I can bid live. I can close that. I can preview auction items and bid on them, all from my bid site, and all while I'm watching the video. So I'm gonna go back to we have 4 more minutes. Let me get the chat going back up. Yes, and so, yeah, there was somebody did answer that. OBS does have the ability to switch between a live camera and any videos if you don't have access to hardware switchers. That's very, very true. And that's why OBS is so cool to make that happen. One other question here is, does your company actually offer turnkey services in terms of co-producing the event? Why don't you give me an email? I'm going to send out an email to everybody here. Why don't you send me an email? We could talk about that. I'm happy to discuss that in a little bit more detail, probably off the meeting, because we only have 3 more minutes. But yeah, and so, yep, and then looks like, oh, somebody using Marwa's account. Yeah, so you can see that as well too. So, but yeah, thank you guys. It's pretty much right up on time. Got about 3 minutes. If there's any more questions, I'm gonna hang out. Otherwise, thank you for being there. And I'm able to answer questions. I'm going to send out this YouTube, I'll put this on YouTube and send it out to you guys after the meeting. And then, yeah, you'll have a copy of it. All right. Thanks a lot.